for God. Come and learn about Him. Here's the Bible with Pastor Adam.
Oh, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back to our show. Thanks for joining us, guys. Hope you're still as excited as I am to be reading these key Bible stories. As I said last week, we're still in the book of Judges. We're going to be in Judges chapter 6 through 8 today, reading about Gideon's army. Another character. Man, the characters just keep on coming. The people keep on coming. So here we're introduced to a man named Gideon. Hope you guys have been remembering to keep God in the proper perspective and giving Him thanks when He accomplishes things through us. Let's go. Judges chapter 6 through 8, Gideon's army. Some Israelites had settled in a valley that was good for farming, but they had to share the land with wandering tribes who moved in with their tents and herds of cattle and sheep. Once again, the Israelites found themselves in trouble because they turned away from God. The wandering tribes robbed the Israelites and drove them out of their villages. The Israelites had to live in the caves in the mountains. Once again, they called to God for help. I'm noticing a pattern with the Israelites. They're good, they're faithful, they trust in Him, then they wander from trusting in Him into not trusting in Him, and finally they find themselves in trouble, and then they cry to God, help, help, help. You'll notice in the Bible, the Israelites are on this constant circle, this constant cycle of being good, not so good, not great, now in trouble, and now call for God for help, and God does amazing things, and now they're good again, and then here we go again, and we're going and going and going. This is the story of the Israelites. So they called to God for help once more. God chose a new leader for His people now, a man named Gideon. Gideon was a farmer. God came to him one day and said, I am giving you the power to save all of Israel. But how can I save Israel? Gideon asked. I'm not an important man. I will help you, God told him. Gideon was not sure he was actually talking with God, the God of Israel. But finally he believed, and before long, Gideon had an army of 10,000 men. I feel like 10,000 men is just about the right number for an army, apparently. You don't need this many soldiers, God told him. I'll test them and tell you which ones can go with you. God told Gideon to take the men down to the spring and ask them to take a drink. Most of the men got down on their knees to drink, but 300 of them scooped up water in their hands and lapped it with their tongues as dogs do. So imagine this. You have 9,700 men who are on all fours drinking like a dog, right? But you have 300 who are doing that to drink their water, doing it in a different way. This showed that the men were alert, ready for anything. The men doing this because they're keeping eyes up instead of being down, doing that. This showed that the men were alert and ready for anything. These were the men that Gideon was to choose for his army, these select 300. It would be 300 against many thousands. Reminds me of a really great movie you guys should watch when you're adults. At night, Gideon's army surrounded the enemy camp. Gideon gave each man a trumpet and a large clay jar with a burning torch inside. At his signal, the men broke the jars, then blew their horns, and the light from the 300 torches and the noise of the 300 trumpets scared the enemies, and they ran off in all directions and never came back. As long as Gideon was their leader, the people of Israel lived in peace. Man, the Old Testament just has so many great epic, movie-like stories of these armies doing these amazing things and and accomplishing things that ordinary men without God just probably couldn't accomplish. Remember, 300 men sounds like a lot, but against thousands of men, it's not a lot at all. Remember the story of these 300 men. They were selected because they were always watching out. They were alert. They weren't lazy. They weren't losing focus. They were men who were wise, keeping an eye out. And God recognized this wisdom they had. Instead of being lustful for the water that was in front of them, he chose these men who were disciplined to be keeping an eye out and keeping their heads up and showing control, self-control. There's a lot of great themes in this book in Judges 6 through 8. Remember, God loves self-control. He loves discipline. He loves people who are trusting in him. He loves people that go where he tells them to go, who will achieve great things because he's leading them. This is the story of Gideon's army of 300 versus thousands. So remember that, guys and girls. Be disciplined and be self-controlled like this 300 army. Join me next week. I'm sure there's more great stuff in here. Let's wait till next week. Bye, guys.